to Steve Okosa, who we will see later on tonight. And you just heard from Lenroy Thomas, the 29-year-old Jamaican who now lives in St. Petersburg, Florida, 18-3 with 9 knockouts, has that height at 6'4". He was TKO'd in 2010, came back, also suffered a TKO loss in 2013. Teddy, what's your take here on Estrada and Thomas?
Well, let's start with Mr. Estrada. He has been knocked out, he being Thomas, by a body shot. So makes sense to go there. And for Thomas, use your height and reach advantage by controlling the outside with that jab.
Ready, guys?
Mark Nelson will be our referee. As you recall, these Boxino opening round matches are scheduled for 6.
Gentlemen, you received your instructions earlier. You know exactly what I expect. Please give me a good, hard, clean fight. Obey my commands and protect yourself at all times. Touch gloves. Good luck to both of you.
You know, everybody in this tournament knows what's at stake, Joe. We know what's at stake. We're talking about, we're building it up. And most of the fighters have come in, some of them the lightest weights of their career, but almost all of them, to a man, have come in lighter than they've been most recently. That's except for Mr. Estrada. Now, look, he did take the fight on 7 days' notice, but he's been known, it's been throughout his career, and you don't want to be known for that, but he has been known for one consistent, and that is that he's not always in shape. Tonight,
get off his neck. Get off his
heaviest
neck.
weight of Estrada's career.
Referee Mark Nelson having to get to work early, separating them. The right hand comes in from Estrada.
Estrada's the much more experienced fighter here, not just in pros, but in the amateurs. 300, yeah, you heard me right. 300 amateur fights. He was also on the 2004 U.S. Olympic team. Thomas, 13 amateur fights. Thomas is not as good as Estrada. Let me just say it right now. Estrada should win this fight. One of the things Thomas has going for him, you might say, he's a southpaw. Throw off Estrada. Well, when you've had 300 amateur fights, guess what? You have fought many southpaws in that career. Estrada has seen southpaws many times. Thomas has to hope that he can control the outside and that Estrada will get tired early.
He's able to just get away from that right hand, but Estrada has had some success early on here with right hands.
Big man or not, Estrada has fast hands, not power. I'm not saying he can't hurt Thomas, who's been knocked out twice, and you got to question his chin. But Estrada does have speed.
Trying to go to that jab there as Estrada placed the right hand to the belt line.
Here's a warning sign for our great fans at home that you're still making your little friendly bets there. Thomas has been knocked out by an 11-9-1 opponent. That's not good. Inactivity not helping Thomas, even though he had more time to prepare and be in shape. Go back 3 fights. You know, it's been 9.5 months since he was in the ring for Thomas, but you go back 3 fights, he was off 2 years and 8 months. So it's going to take him a little while to get rid of that rust. And that's not good.
And those were the bookend TKO losses that I mentioned when we were introducing him.
And plenty of inactivity for Mr. Estrada. 7 months last time he was in the ring. Go back before his last fight, he was off 1 year and 8 months.
You can check in on Nigel Collins on Twitter and social media. Hall of Famer will be guiding us through all the buzz that's happening, not just Mayweather and Pacquiao, but right here with Boxino, plus FNFvote.com and the Friday Night Fight Facebook page. The score along with Teddy Atlas and the ringside judges all night long. Get online. At Mohegan Sun, and now we come here to Turning Stone in Verona, New York for the heavyweight edition of Boxino. Round number 2 between Lenroy Thomas and Jason Estrada.
You know, Thomas has stepped up to the B level, Joe, competition once, and he was knocked out. Then he was knocked out again at a lower level. I mentioned that earlier. The question tonight is, what level is Estrada, especially on 7 days' notice? I say Estrada is still a higher level than Thomas. but maybe the weight and the belated breathing that might come along in a few rounds to Estrada, maybe that might tell a different story.
This fight only scheduled for 6. There was a clash of heads there in the midst of that exchange as you saw Thomas reach up towards his forehead.
Yeah, you know, Estrada comes in sometimes when he throws. He leans to his head. You know, he's a shorter guy. He's not tall. You can see Thomas obviously has the height advantage. Estrada's been involved in head clashes before. Matter of fact, he's been cut over his right eye in his last fight, Estrada.
Step back.
Don't expect combination from Estrada. You know, it's not his temperament, and obviously he's not in great shape to be thrown a lot. He's going to slow the pace down. That's what he's doing right now. You know, he's going to punch and clutch. He's going to punch, grab, or maybe punch and fall in and smother Thomas. Again, keep the pace slow if he can.
Estrada was able to land another right hand moments ago. Southpaw jab from Thomas. Back to it, doubled it up, but missed, just glanced with that straight left behind it.
If Thomas wants to win this fight, he uses that southpaw jab all night long when there's separation on the outside. Thomas is 5 years younger. He's in better shape. He doesn't want to be clogged and bogged down to getting inside where he can't work. He should be working on the outside. Take advantage of being younger. Take advantage of being taller. Take advantage of being in better shape. And he's doing it this round a little bit.
A little bit of space here.
Space good for Thomas.
Up on his toes now, not shooting off that southpaw jab, though, to fill that space.
If Estrada starts getting tired, get desperate a little bit, look for more right hands like that. Right hands usually work with southpaws. Thomas doing good work this round. Good round for Thomas.
We invite you to go online to the Friday Night Fight Facebook page or fnfvote.com and score along with Teddy Atlas.
Time!
Weight fights tonight. Tournament-style bracket boxing to advance out of these quarterfinals to the April 10th semifinals. Joe, Teddy, Bernardo, and Todd with you here in upstate New York. Body shot landed that time by Thomas. Tried to place it again.
Thomas gaining some confidence.
He is.
I think somebody whispered in his ear after the first round and said, hey, look across the way. Look at the waistline of Estrada.
Saw that southpaw right hook there that landed against Estrada.
Yeah, I think someone reminded him, hey, this guy, keep a little separation and work. Don't let him smother you.
Watch your heads.
You can win this fight.
Punch out. Get off his neck. Get off his neck. Get your hands free, guys. Break. Don't punch.
Almost all the fights for Thomas have been in the South where you can build record. He has beat a lot of very soft opposition. Estrada, almost all his fights on the East Coast.
Keep it clean here.
And most of them in the New England area.
He's from Providence. He was one of those names that everybody knew when he was coming up through the amateurs. He made the 2004 Olympic team. There was disappointment there. And then, you know, we were trying to gather exactly where he would be, where he would land as Thomas scores again early in his career. I feel like we've had many fights with Estrada where we're always trying to gauge where he is and where it's all headed.
It's never where it's supposed to be. When you're not in shape, you wait, you hesitate. You're afraid to let your hands go a little bit. And that's what's happening to Estrada. He's hesitating, he's waiting. He's not letting his hands go. And Thomas is doing good work. He looked like Buster Douglas there, throwing that uppercut as Estrada fell in a little bit. Thomas picking the right punch.
Estrada trying to get around that guard there with the right hand.
Remember the dangerous news, Thomas has been knocked out twice. But the good news, if you're a backup Thomas, Estrada's not a puncher.
Estrada only has 6 knockouts
Don't punch.
in his 25 pro fights.
I talked about Estrada coming in the heaviest of his career. Thomas, as I said, he had the time to get ready. He knew what was at stake. He came in as light as weight in over 7 years. It's showing.
Coming.
When you're taller, you're longer, use your jab. You're southpaw, make it the right hand. And that's exactly what Thomas is doing right here.
Good job, guys. Good job.
Actually
Ready?
see Thomas starting to bubble up with confidence somewhere in the midst of that second round. Remember, these are only scheduled for 6. So if you gain some momentum and you can sway the judges and start getting things going your way, you get in great position to advance in Boxino. 6-round quarterfinal matchups before the semifinals expand to 8, and the finals are 10 rounds on May 22nd. Let's look at Teddy's scorecard. Last 2 rounds going to Thomas. Facebook fans see Estrada with a slim voting lead in that second round to give him a 2-1 advantage.
Great fans at home there. Love you. You started drinking early tonight, didn't you? A little bit. Didn't say what you're drinking. Sodas.
Estrada scoring there up top.
Or maybe some Corona.
That's always helpful.
Corona Extras.
Always drink the sponsor.
Extra helpful. I disagree, obviously, with the fans, but that's always fun. Hey, did you see that left hand land, you people in fan land? Thomas landed it.
Oh, and he comes back with a left hand as well.
Yeah, Thomas doing a good job. Game plan is pretty simple for both guys. Thomas, stay on the outside.
Another clash here, Teddy.
Yeah.
Second time that's happened tonight, which is
Estrada,
often the
protect
case.
yourself.
Now, interestingly
Protect
enough, the referee, Mark Nelson, did not come in to deal with what was apparent clash. So Estrada started taking those few steps. Perhaps a more aggressive fighter would have jumped right in on that situation.
They would have.
Teddy.
That's
Stand there,
actually a
look at
very
this
good
cut.
point. And that's been one of the
Accidental
problems
headbutt.
of Estrada. You know, when
just
you're
see
not
your
in
cut,
top
okay?
shape, it's hard to be aggressive.
Well, and you
That
make decisions.
That mindset, you're right. But he's always been more.
So here's the clash of heads. And
Accidental
then
headbutt.
subsequent to that,
Okay, over
Thomas
here.
pulled away, making the assumption that Mark Nelson, the referee,
Watch the
would
heads,
come
guys.
over and see if
Watch your
there
heads.
was a cut
Time in. Here we
caused
go.
by an accidental clash. Instead, there was an opportunity right there for Estrada to bull rush him.
Yeah, and you hear me talk all the time about temperament, right? Your core. What your core is, what your temperament. If your temperament is not to be aggressive, and Estrada's really isn't to be aggressive. It's to be more look to counter, pick spots, you know, outspeed a guy, sometimes even outflash a guy. So if your temperament's not there to be aggressive, even with an opportunity, and you made a very good point, even an opportunity to have an advantage, your temperament does not allow you to jump on it.
Right.
There's a reason why there's a saying in boxing, protect yourself at all times. Thomas did not at that moment, but Estrada did not make him pay.
Hands free.
I'm thinking a little bit of
Don't punch,
Tyson.
step back.
I know there's no southpaw in the Tyson-Douglas fight, but I'm thinking a little bit the styles, you know, of Tyson and Douglas. I mean, Estrada's like Tyson.
Obey the
He's
bell
reaching
here.
in. Thomas countering him, timing him, giving him trouble.
Right out.
Let's check in with Bernardo.
Hey, guys,
Is
get the water in the
Cojano.
ice,
He'll be coming up
please.
against Ed Fountain
Here we go.
in our next heavyweight Boxino match.
No loose ice,
For
guys.
now,
Have it in the
Estrada
bag.
and Thomas with 6 minutes remaining here in our opening quarterfinal bout.
Hopefully it's not wet, soggy spaghetti arms.
No.
You know, because soggy spaghetti's not, you know, it's not good. Usually.
Well, you want it al dente, Teddy. Everybody knows
Al
it.
dente.
Al dente.
Al dente spaghetti arms.
Now, you know in my house there's no soggy spaghetti, bro. I mean,
No.
you know,
Don't punch.
that's
No, I
a
know
no-go
that.
in my house.
No,
You get thrown right out.
I understand. Separation, just mark the round down. You see separation, Joe? Mark it down. Mark the round down. It's going to go to Thomas. In close, that's where Estrada needs to get something done, but that doesn't look good because Estrada gets in close where he has to be. Shorter guys, shorter arms. He's got to work inside, and he gets inside. What's he do? Falls in, punches, doesn't work. But that speaks to what we said at the top. He's not in shape. And that speaks to why he has 5 losses. And only 6 knockouts. You have to throw punches. You got to punch a little bit, but you have to throw punches to get knockouts. There's the right hand that seems to be there against Thomas, the southpaw. Estrada needs to throw more on them.
That was a little sweeping and less targeted.
Some redness over the left eye of Estrada. I mentioned he was cut over the right eye from his last fight. I think I said a couple rounds ago, if Estrada gets desperate, look for a lot of right hands. I think Estrada's getting to that place.
Which, strangely enough, may be a good thing for him.
Yeah, that's a good point. Anything that gives urgency to him, that lights a fire.
Now there's blood coming from that right eye of Estrada. You can see him blinking a lot and having to deal with his vision being impaired a bit as Thomas gets off 2 punches. So
yeah, he was cut in his last fight, as I said.
There is a significant cut and blood coming around that right eye.
See, Estrada, to get close, to do any damage, he has to go through a bad neighborhood. You know, he's shorter. He has to, you know, he's got to move in 3-4 feet to do anything, and that gives Thomas a chance to mug him before he gets through that neighborhood. And Thomas has mugged him a little bit this round as Estrada has tried to get to that neighborhood. Like that.
There'll be 1 round to go here to see which way it goes in Boxino's heavyweight edition.
If your hand go, hands up when you're done.
6th and final round. Joe Tessitore, Teddy Atlas with you ringside. Heavyweight action in Boxino. Now, keep in mind, 6-round fight. We're in the midst of a tournament. Somebody has to advance. So, if the traditional scoring ringside that'll go onto the boxing record says it's a draw, we can't have that. We have to have a winner. So we will have a draw breaker round, 1 single round to see who advances in this Boxino tournament if we have a draw at the conclusion of these 6. Here's a left hand from Estrada.
Well, if there's going to be a draw, and that's a big, big if for me, Estrada, I think, would at least have to drop Thomas. And he's getting closer now, letting his hands go, and that's what he needs to do if that's going to happen.
Break the punch, I got you.
You know, Estrada, a lot of things going against him. 1 week notice. Obviously not in the best of shape. And even though he fought a lot of southpaws in the amateur, his last fight Estrada had in the pros that he lost, yep, you got it, it was against the southpaw. So he didn't come in here mentally, I don't think, in the best frame of mind. And of course he had no time to spar with the southpaw. Or to spar properly to get ready for a southpaw. Good work on the outside now by Thomas. I mean, he's doing
he's touching him, popping him, and just having his way a bit right there for that span.
Just like Buster Douglas did with Tyson. You know, control that outside, catch him standing there, and then when he comes in reaching, throw that uppercut.
Hands free, guys. Get out there.
25 years ago this month. Estrada getting to the inside, able to place a body shot.
Yeah, you know why he got inside? Because Thomas didn't punch.
Step back on your own.
You're going to be the taller, longer guy. You need to punch right now at the distance where the other guy is before he can hit you. In other words, punch at the end of your punches when the shorter man is vulnerable, like that. Perfect. Before the shorter man can get close. There's that uppercut. It's there for Thomas, that left uppercut, as the shorter man gets tired and leans. There it is again. I see one more big uppercut this round for Thomas. Uppercut to the body.
And with the left hand there, was able to score.
Thomas
I
turning
think
for a
finishing
second.
strong right here is going to matter a lot, Teddy, these last 10 seconds.
He won this fight.
Hear that clap.
That's all I know.
Let it go. Let those hands go.
Time. Good job.
Thomas let his hands go, as you said, Joe, and now he's waiting to have his hands raised.
Well, Don Ackerman, Tom Schreck, and Don Trella, 3 veteran ringside judges, will decide it. And if they come up with a winner, we will fill in the name on the bracket. You think it's Lenroy Thomas? If we have a draw, we will have a draw breaker round. There's that cut you see above the right eye of Jason Estrada.
If we have a draw, what do you call it?
A draw breaker, like a jaw breaker. You
well,
remember
my
the old
jaw will
breakers?
break. My
Your
jaw,
jaw-
my jaw will break.
Good job.
Oh, I think Twitter will break too, based on your reaction. Oh. Here's our Corona extra look. That was a good left hand from Jason Estrada. Well, let's find out if we have a winner and somebody advancing in Boxino, or if we will have one single round draw breaker. And for that, we go up to the ring to Sweet Baby Ray Flores.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 6 rounds, we have a draw. We will see a 7th and deciding draw breaker round.
There you go, Teddy. We have a draw breaker.
I mean, it's, what are they watching?
You know what?
These judges
But here's
watching?
the good news. You got 3 minutes for us to get a winner here. Let's go all out for 3 minutes. What do you say? Let's enjoy it.
My jaw's broke.
You can still talk. I hear you. Here we go. 3 minutes to decide who advances.
Well, we know who's in better shape, right? I mean, it comes down to 3 minutes. We know who's in better shape. That's Thomas. That should carry him. But we also know that these judges are blind.
So here's what you get in Boxino, folks. We break tradition. We break the rules of what you've known boxing to be. And we have overtime. One single round. Let's decide it. Your official records will record a draw, but for Boxino tournament purposes, this is what matters right here.
We need to eventually get some kind of system that judges the judges and evaluates judges and gets rid of the ones that are no good and gets another pool of judges involved that are good. But here we are, once again, nothing new. I wonder if the judges saw those. Yeah, but I wonder if the judges saw those punches thrown and landed. I wonder if they saw those. I wonder if they saw those.
So you like Thomas's work in the first minute here?
Yes. And I'm not surprised. He's in better shape. And just look at the body language of Estrada. Grabbing on the inside. This is his career right now. This is the extra round to move forward in this tournament that maybe could revive his career. And what does he do inside? He grabs. That's all you need to know.
There's that uppercut again, Teddy.
And a right hook on top of it. I wonder if the judges saw that.
Now he works that southpaw jab. See what Estrada can come up with here as he charges in and then ties up on the inside.
Exactly. To my point. Your career's on the line. This is an extra inning round. This is a round that will tell whether or not your career goes forward or where it goes. And you're tying up on the inside.
Thomas up on his toes.
Oh, he wants separation. Good uppercut to the body again by Thomas. He wants separation. We talked about it. When he has separation, he's long, he's tall, he can use those assets.
Final 50 seconds here. Who will advance?
Good work only man landing punches this round. Would you agree, Joe? It's been Thomas?
Yeah, I think Thomas has had it his way. He's comfortable. He's confident. He's catching Estrada.
Are you willing to be a witness? Are you willing?
Yes, there's Estrada with the right hand, but he even got tagged after that.
You're willing to be a witness?
I'm a witness, Ted.
Okay. Okay. You may be called on. You may be called on.
They don't want me on the stand. Thomas feels he's got this easy.
Well, does he know what the judges are thinking? Did he forget that they put him into this extra round?
He literally just delivered Estrada back to his corner. You see the reaction from the corner of Lenroy Thomas.
Thomas knows he won the fight fair and square. Now what we don't know is, are the judges fair and square?
Born in Jamaica, came to the U.S. at age 12. You understand what he was able to overcome in life. A Florida-based veteran.
And that's what it's all about, that expression of emotion by Thomas. Here's Thomas. This is why I think he won. All the work being done on the outside by Thomas. There's that left uppercut we talked about. Maybe we should show these replays to the judges. That might not be a bad, that might not be a bad idea. Every once in a while, put a monitor in the front of the judges and just remind them of something that they might have missed. And say, hey, guys, before you put your pencil to the paper, take a look at this. In MMA, which is a sport that's growing by the minute, they have that. If a judge is blocked, they can look at the monitor. Maybe the judge has an excuse. I was blocked. The referee was in the way. They can look at the monitor. Something needs to be done to get better judging for these fighters. They deserve it.
Well, it seemed pretty obvious that Thomas completely outworked Estrada in that draw-breaker 7th round. Let's see if they agree. For that, here's Sweet Baby Ray.
Ladies and gentlemen, after a 7th draw-breaker round, we go to the scorecards. All 3 judges have it the same for your winner by unanimous decision. And moving on to the semifinals of the Boxino Heavyweight Tournament, Lenroy TNT Thomas.
So Thomas
all's well that
advances.
ends well, right, Joe?
I guess so, Teddy.
Okay, I'll go by that. All's well that ends well.
Let's update the brackets for you. As Thomas moves forward,